Christopher Floyd here with you. Time for another round of conversations thanks to the Corsair and the Corsair Online, your one-stop news shop. We are here today with Mr. Lee Peterson. Please don't let me introduce you. Introduce yourself and tell them what you do, what your title is.
My name is Lee Peterson. I'm an instructional specialist for the academic computing department at SMC. I work in the Cayton Computer Lab.
How long have you been there?
I've been there since 1989. Sorry, I've been there since 1999. But the lab has been there since 1989.
Okay, so you've been there. You're pretty much going up on 20 then.
Yes.
Early congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
So we're going to jump right into this. Oh, and by the way, so that voice, the dulcet tones of Mr. Lee Peterson is what you just heard. What you're about to hear is Ryanne Mena. And don't let me introduce yourself. Tell them what your title is.
My name is Ryanne Mena, and I am the managing editor for the Corsair newspaper here on SMC.
So here's what's going on, and please, again, feel free to interject anytime, Ryan.
Gotcha.
As you may know, we're having an issue here on at the Santa Monica College campus regarding Gen C, which stands for the Gender
Equity and Social Justice Center.
Right.
Item 7.3 and the major action items for last week's AS board meeting on the 27th, which was passed on that day.
And here is what seems to be the main issue is I think for most of the students, it's a matter of transparency. That seems to be one of many things. This thing is just totally blown up. And what I want to talk, the reason we're having Lee in here today is if you go into Cayton Center and you start walking down the corridor towards the back, you're going to see about a yard-wide strip of saran wrap right in the middle of the floor. Tell them what that is.
In the computer lab, just to...
In the computer lab at Cayton Center.
Well, it's carpet protector strip, and what it does is it shows where the wall will go for any gender equity center. And
that's going to be the back. So obviously there's going to be the one side's going to be the building wall for obviously the main building, Cayton Center, and the other one's going to be a built-up wall for the for Gen C.
Right.
And that's going to be the other side of it. That's going to be the closing wall. So if you're up in Cayton Center and you're in the computer lab, just start walking towards the back. You'll see it. You can't miss it. That's where the closing lab is going to be at. Now, we've been told from some people from AS, from friends of AS, that initially there were going to be net zero computer losses. And then that got up to net 4. And from what I've seen from sites like SaveTheCaytonCenter.com, from what you're telling me, from where that strip of carpet protector is, they're talking about 30 to 52 computers.
Right.
And initially we were told that is a misleading statement.
It's totally misleading.
Can you explain to this?
The numbers that they gave are totally misleading.
Their numbers, 0 to 4.
Numbers, the 0 to
net
4.
Loss.
Right, and then they changed the numbers to 16 after that. It's bizarre. If you walk from the staff area to where the wall is going to be for the Gender Equity Center, or whatever they call it, they keep changing the name, that's 30 computers. But the staff still has to have a place to help students and to fix computers and to put lost and found until it goes to the police department. And that's currently takes up 22 computer spaces when you measure it out on the floor.
So this was the numbers that they were putting forth were never ever accurate. The only misleading that's been going on, and I should take that back. The numbers that you put out there haven't been misleading. What I've seen over the past week is they've become more and more accurate.
Yes, because we could shrink the staff area slightly if we either dropped services for students or we got slightly different furniture, because the shape of the room matters. We have to have access for people in wheelchairs. We have to have fire exits. But this 16 and 4 numbers, they're insane.
Where did those come from?
I have no idea. Nobody will talk. I spent over a week trying to get administrators to walk through the area with me with a contractor's measuring wheel so they could see what the published plan from the SMC facilities planning department says, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't spend 2 minutes.
Which administrators to specify?
This way, right.
Which administrators specify? discussing?
I'm trying to get the Dean of Student Life, the Instructional Technology Manager, anybody to understand that these numbers are wrong.
So let's go back to the beginning. It's before Thanksgiving. I don't remember there being any conversation about this at all anywhere, online or anywhere else. You put up a flyer, I guess, if you will. You put up what I call a project, basically that just had that information on it. Hey, students, blah, 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 blah. There's something else coming down the pike. You may lose 30 to 52 computers. Here's what's going on.
Well, actually,
the information that we were told was misleading.
Actually, on the flyers, I just want to specify, the flyers, from what I recall, do not specify any amount of computers at all. It was just asking a question like, hey, how do you feel about the shrinking of a possibility of the shrinking of the Cayton Center? Mr. Lee, when he put up those flyers, they did not say any numbers or anything like that.
I thought I saw 30 to 52.
One of them did. One version did. It did say 52. Another version was, should all the computers in this room be removed? But I've been a computer technology professional for a long time. And if you value your peace and quiet as an information technology professional, you tell the people who use your computer systems ahead of time before you make changes, because you want to solicit their ideas and their commentary. It's open and honest. They can go any way they want, but you always tell them rather than surprise them.
And it sounds like you may have been surprised, which leads me to my first whole list of questions here is, what was the conversation between you and AS or anyone associated with Gen C regarding what was coming down the road? Did they ever come to you and said, hey, this is what we're planning on, this is what we're hoping to do, how does this fit with you, does it not fit with you? Did they give you any input, any chance to get involved with this early on when they said this is what's coming down the road?
The gender equity and social justice work groups are basically faculty groups that met with administrators kind of on their own. They weren't official units of the college. They're sort of self-selected. And I have to work in the computer lab. I'm not free to go to self-selected groups that meet in their free time. The groups were asked by the college district's Planning and Advisory Council to write a report on what they thought this center would be, and it was taken to the Planning and Advisory Council, which is called DPAC for short, and I saw the plan and I pointed out that it wouldn't work. It would have a massively negative effect on students. It would block hundreds of students a day from being able to get access to computers. And so the co-chair at the DPAC meeting said, well, obviously this plan isn't going to work, so instead of saying that we will implement the plan, we will implement a plan. And the institutional master plan for this year calls for finding some community space for these student interests that are obviously important to many people.
I mean, and that's another thing. I'm trying to stay unbiased on this, and that's just obviously not going to happen. I've heard some people say that there's been some fear mongering going on, unproven allegations of fear mongering going on, and so I'll just come out and say, does this have anything at all to do with any of the groups? Your opposition to this, does this have anything to do with any of the groups that are going to wind up using Gen C?
No, I'm not opposed to social justice programming, and I'm not opposed to gender equity programming. Space on campus is very, very tight. It always has been. And I'm the co-chair of the district's facilities planning subcommittee, and we evaluate, according to state standards, how many people are going to use the space.
When were you first made available about this plan?
The actual plan was handed out to DPAC in the first part of August, and it was funny because there were dueling versions that came from the same group of people handed out the same day, and it was like, which plan do we read? Can't you get along?
Do you remember what the differences were between them?
No, it's too long a plan to read. To compare, I mean, when we did read it, we found a lot of the services and programming that they want to offer are already offered by existing college employees using existing college offices.
I'm just going to get straight to the point and just be blunt about it. What's your take on what's going on? We've heard allegations. Anybody who's been online and read anything regarding this has seen some charges thrown about. One former president even brought up money laundering. Okay, so this has gotten out of hand. This is totally blown up. What's your take on what's going on as far as the lack of transparency and just the way AS and officials have conducted this?
Well, Santa Monica College has a student bill of rights. It also has a code of ethics for employees. As employees, we are supposed to give you truthful, accurate information so that you and your student peers can make independent decisions about what you believe to be in the best interests of students. In this case, the Associated Students Board of Directors was given false information and was not given enough time to discuss the ramifications, the side effects of trying to sponsor gender equity and social justice programming.
One, what's the false information?
The false information given to the Associated Students Board of Directors was the claim that only 16 computer workstations would be eliminated.
And who gave them that information?
Well, there was only one presentation given to the Associated Students Board of Directors at the end of the semester when they were talking about it, finally.
During the AS board meeting on November 20th, correct? When in section 4, I believe it was, during that meeting, it was just a slideshow presentation given, I think, by one of the administrators.
Yes.
But it was only required to the AS board voting on this proposal.
And then at the very beginning of the semester, the very first AS Board of Directors meeting, apparently one of the college vice presidents gave a short presentation.
Was that on the minutes?
Yes, it was on the minutes as a presentation. At neither one of those meetings was the Board of Directors allowed to discuss the item with each other. They were only allowed to ask questions of the presenter, so far as I know. And I was at the second one in November, so I saw that. I was trying to say, wait, some of this information is wrong, and I wasn't allowed to say anything.
So you're not just hearing you say that you're not the only one who's been complaining about how they've gone about doing this. Transparency and just that's what I'm hearing from students. The meeting last Tuesday.
Yes.
The last Tuesday meeting?
Which one? Which meeting?
The first one, after we got back from Thanksgiving.
Oh, you mean the AS board meeting?
The AS
last
board
Monday.
meeting. Okay, last Monday.
27th.
There was student after student after student after student. I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with the center. I don't have a problem with the center. Over and over and over and over again. So, and they immediately followed that up with, I just want to know, I just want to get information. Why do you think AS isn't providing basic information to this? Let's exclude the number of computers. There's a question of money. There's a matter of timing. So, for instance, do you have any ideas to the timeline of when this is supposed to take place, as far as getting Gen C up and running somewhat, opening the doors somehow, anyway?
Because they want to do construction with drywall, it looks like they want to go out to bid so that they can have the construction done sometime in summer of 2018 and finished in time for fall of 2018.
Okay, so let's be clear. There won't be any changes to Cayton Center 2017-2018 school year. Is that correct?
No.
Fall to into spring.
No, it looks like the last full semester for the Associated Students Computer Lab as is will be spring of 2018, and then sometime in the summer they'll have to rip out 52 computers, 52 chairs, 52 monitors, and 26 two-student tables.
And in the meantime, what is Gen C going to be doing? Where are they going to be at?
Well, they already have a website, and they are already apparently sponsoring programming.
Yes.
And so they're sort of amorphous. I don't know what they're like a fog out there because they're not really official so far as I know, except that they have a website run by the Dean of Student Life.
Okay, so they're not actually located anywhere on campus right now, as far as we know. I can't say where's Jinsey, go to room blank, or this building, that room.
Well, we know that some of the services are offered by the Human Resources Department employees for Title IX enforcement. Mm-hmm. We have some other employees, like in EOPS, who help students having food security problems, food pantry type things. And so there are some services scattered around on the campus already.
But as far as what, I mean, the reason we're having this debate, so for instance, a lot of students have asked about KCRW. How come they can't start shifting into their as KCRW empties out?
Several years ago,
I mean, that would get them up and running right now, wouldn't it?
Well,
a place for people to go. Where are they at? They're downstairs, Cayton Center, the old KCRW building.
Well, KCRW will be moving out sometime in spring semester of 2018. The area is actually bigger than the existing computer lab and wider. The facilities planning department has already said that it would be a very good computer lab because the interior walls could be removed cheaply and safely, we believe. And you don't need sunlight from windows on your computer monitors. Yeah,
fresh air would be nice though. but okay, so all right, here's one thing that I am curious about. On the what is this? SaveTheCaytonCenter.com. There's a part of the Senate resolution, and I'm just going to read this. Senate resolution in support of a gender center, whereas the AS have found numbers of concerned students that have signed petitions that the need for a gender center is a compelling concern for the SB, the student body. My last words here, student body. And the reason I bring that up is we've had some people, Ben Kolodny, we've had a lot of other people talk about this 50 for 50 study that they keep referencing. The school talked to 50 gay and lesbians or doc members or whatever, and they got 50 for 50 came back saying that they feel safe on campus. They do not feel threatened on campus. And Ben's whole sort of point is, why are we paying for something that 50 out of 50 say they don't want, or at least don't need?
And also,
is that applicable?
Keep in mind that SMC has a student population of 31,000 students. I'm not saying that doesn't have any relevancy or validity, but I'm just saying keep that in mind.
In lieu of any information being put out by AS, though, it's sort of like Lee's information. You can say it's misleading, but when you've got absolutely nothing to counter it, that makes that the only piece of information out there. And until you can prove that information is wrong, that's the only valid piece of information that we have.
Well, I asked about that study, and the people who participated in it self-selected themselves because they were gung-ho for a gender resource center or gender equity center.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
Me neither.
I was on the Title IX advisory committee that helps write the regulations and make sure that sexual misconduct does not occur at SMC. If a single inch of SMC is not a safe space, then SMC by definition is in violation of Title IX and could be in trouble with the federal government. So SMC tries to make every place at SMC safe for every student at all times.
So this is redundancy to an extent. We're already a safe space. A campus is a safe place.
Legally.
College is a safe place. And so we're going to a safe place in a safe place.
That's what my labor union said. California School Employees Chapter 36 wrote an official statement saying that we support gender equity programming, but space is very short on campus, and we believe that the proposal that we had seen was redundant with existing college services.
There's been talk about the center going in upstairs and then becoming too big within a year and having to move. Why go there to begin with? Why do all of that? Why get contracts? Why do drywall and then do that, and then when a year after you've been successful, having to get up and move anyway? Why create that hassle to begin with?
And keep in mind that's also 50% of the AS budget for the unrestricted portion, at least. being spent at the beginning of the AS student year?
Well, the Facilities Planning Committee is very much in favor of multi-purpose spaces, and we want as few hard drywall walls as possible. We want to use these removable walls that you see sometimes in corporate offices. They're safe. They can be made soundproof, sort of,
Okay.
So that you get privacy. And they're called demountable walls. And our committee is very much in favor of those because a future Associated Students Board of Directors could order the removal of any center on the second floor.
Oh, really?
Sure. The Associated Students Board over the years has negotiated with the college management to increase the size of the computer lab twice, and it's perfectly within their rights to say they want to shrink it, but every AS board is different, and a written agreement between the college and the AS board had to be written to make sure that the computer lab had some stability. It's online.
What do you see happening? I was talking to our editor, Corsair editor, Marissa Vasquez, the other day, and we've sort of run out of time. The newspaper, we've got 1 week left. Maybe we can get out one edition, but that's it until spring, and nothing's really going to be going on over winter. So I feel like AS got real lucky with this. They put nothing on their Facebook website regarding this coming up, so students had nowhere to go to look. And then they had, even if they did put something up, there was 4 days off, and then they're going to come back. They would have come back on the following Monday and had this.
Right.
And
Thanksgiving
now,
holiday.
right, and now we're trying to struggle to get stories out, get information out. Everybody's, whether it be the Mirror. I haven't seen anything in the daily press yet, but there's sites online trying to put out information as quickly as they can. But I feel like AS got lucky here because they're about to go down for a while, and nobody's really going to be around to ask these questions. What do you think is going to be happening between now and when we all come back in spring?
Well, I'm going to be writing a report for the administration that shows how many hundreds of students a day will not be able to get access to a computer, either in the Associated Students Computer Lab in Cayton Center, or in the library, or in the Business Building's Computer Science and Information Systems Lab. Today I walked over to the library and counted. There were only 9 seats available. The AS Computer Lab was pretty full. The Business Building Lab was pretty full as well and would not have been able to accommodate the diversion if the AS Computer Lab is shrunk to the extent that this proposal would shrink it.
Anything else?
There's just so much going on, I don't even know where to start.
I know. I'm going to ask if we can have you come back. It's going to have to be in the spring, just to kind of update us all on this. Mr. Lee Peterson, Ryanne Mena, I am Christopher Floyd. This has been Conversations. Go online. You can find this on Corsair online. Check out your student newspaper on Facebook at The Corsair. I'm not sure what it is, but we're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, so you can find us on there as well. Christopher Floyd, Lee Peterson, Ryanne Mena. This has been Conversations, SMC Conversations. This is SMC Radio, and we are out of here. Thank you for listening. You take care of yourself and have a great and safe holiday.